RedZoneSports.bet, the British home of American sports.
Hello once again and welcome to the SportsHeads. This is the playbook for week 15. We're going to take a look through some of the news items that have been happening in the NFL this week. I'm Simon Millam from Lindy's Sports, and I'm pleased to say I'm joined by two experts in the studio, the Red Zone Sports studio. Wonderful studio it is too. Sam Morgan from The Verge magazine and Matt Phillips from UKDraftGuide.com. Gents, great to have you here as always.
Thank you.
Biggest news topic, of course, this week has got to be Carson Wentz's injury. ACL injury, out for the season. Nick Foles is going to be in for the Philadelphia Eagles. How's it going to impact the Eagles season?
I think it's a massive impact, obviously, especially this late on. There's no time to really try and build up any momentum at this point. I think it's going to have a bit of a knock-on effect now. The only plus side is Nick Foles knows the team well, knows majority of the players, so there's probably a slight advantage over what we've seen with other quarterbacks sort of going out. And we saw what happened at Green Bay, and it's only now they started to pick up momentum, and we know what's about to happen there. So, I think it's kind of said, you know, people like, could they win the Super Bowl and like going on? I think now it's probably put that massive dent that they won't. But I still think they're not just going to be written off completely and lose every game now.
Are they still the team to beat in the NFC, do you think?
I think the balance, we've mentioned before, they've got that great balance, haven't they, between offense and running and passing. So it's not as if they were totally dependent on Carson Wentz. The only thing is, as this weekend showed, there's so many times when the offense was faltering, and on third down, it was Wentz's legs that moved the chains. They're going to miss that, and he's brought along a lot of that offense from North Dakota State as well, which is it's given their offense a little bit more something a little bit different to get them over the line. Nick Foles isn't really going to do that. However, as Sam said, he's been with Doug Peterson ever since, pretty much all the way through his career, and so he knows exactly what his coach wants. Pedersen's going to adjust the playbook to what Foles can and can't do. The problem with Foles is that he may have a pretty kind of 2 or 3 deep balls, but he's just not got the zip or the accuracy to carry out that West Coast offense in the intermediate part of the field. So I'm worried about that, but they don't rely on any one area.
No, I think you might see the run game sort of being used a little bit more, and that's where the shoulders of Jay Ajayi will obviously be sort of used. However,
where's he born again?
Let's not go there with him. It's like the same thing. Yeah, but I think with Jay, the trouble is though, we've seen in Miami is when he's handed that ball so often, his legs can't take that amount of game time, I don't think. So I don't know if you put too much pressure on him, whether that actually comes through. But I come back to momentum, and we're seeing sort of the usual sort of suspects now picking up momentum. So team to beat, not anymore.
Okay. On the flip side, an ACL injury, which usually takes between 7 and 9 months to heal fully, the fact that certain players have had ACL injuries have come back a lot better. I mean, Carson Palmer, for instance, similar, same position, had his best season ever after an ACL.
Yeah, and then what?
Jeremy Maclin, wide receiver at Baltimore, exactly the same thing. Recovery, he did really well. The thing about ACL injuries, and the thing about an injury of that stature, yes, it's a bad injury, but on the flip side, you can turn it into a positive in the respect that they can learn a hell of a lot more about their bodies. They have a lot more time in the weight room. They get a lot bigger. I mean, you look at the likes of Kelsey, the centre for the Philadelphia Eagles. He came back a lot bigger upper body strength because he had so much more time in the gym, and they learned about, and Carson Palmer learned more about his mechanics than he's ever done, and had a great season on the back of it. I
mean, with ligament injuries, and it's got to roll back some years of me actually playing a little bit of footy here, but when it comes to sort of bones being broke, like I've dislocated my shoulder, that's an issue. It's not easy to come back from. You can have the op and it will strengthen it within a point. With ligaments, as long as it's not snapped away and you've then got all the sort of liquids and fluids, complete rebuild, you can actually come back stronger than what it actually originally was, because obviously now you've got the mechanics of obviously putting that in place. And like you said, he is now, this time of the year, he has now got no chance of coming back, until the pre-season, he can come back a lot stronger and probably take even more time to now go through, the game book and actually look back at what he's done well and what he's done badly for them to go again.
I actually think this is, as strange as it may sound, it could be a huge positive for him long term. I don't think the Eagles have got any problems to worry about with him long term.
He's still very early in his career, isn't
Absolutely.
it?
Yeah.
He's made great progress and he's looked the part this year.
Yep.
Like I say, he's brought in different aspects to the offense that they just won't have without him. But I think he's another one of those quarterbacks where you're not relying on him solely. You've got a balanced attack.
Yeah.
That should carry them through, whether or not it's enough to get to the Super Bowl. It's. I think
still look at the teams they played, and they're 2-1 against teams with a winning record. It's not the toughest of schedules that they play.
That's right.
But anyway, let's move on. In Houston, Tom Savage suffered a major concussion. He was seen shaking on the ground, and then put back in briefly by the coaching staff before being withdrawn. I just wonder whether or not the coaching staff have a little bit too much say in things, and would the officials be better off having a little bit more power in regards to concussion protocols?
Yes, I think they need to be, but within reason now. I think we've got to look at sort of the whole thing where people getting involved with sort of the tackles we saw obviously with the Bengals and the Steelers. I think that got a little bit out of hand with the officials sort of getting in the way of sort of the competitive edge. So that side of it, maybe a slightly different subject. I think that within the laws of the game, it needs to just it's a contact sport. Keep it a contact sport. Yeah. But when it comes to those head injuries there, and the fact that you can get footage so quick, and there are people upstairs getting the same footage as a viewer that can go, oh my God, he's shaking on the floor. Yeah. That's it. There's no way he should be coming back into that game.
To be fair, we must just state that O'Brien didn't actually see the incident itself and didn't see him there. But surely there are enough people in there to see. And you play soccer at a really high level. If a referee spots something, and I'm a part-time referee, if you spot something and you have that decision to make, you say, sorry, he's going off. I mean, I just want to know whether do you think that should happen a little bit more?
I also question. I mean, firstly on Sunday I thought it was just me that noticed him shaking because I know the commentators didn't
pick up on it.
I was thinking, God, and
his hand was going like
it's a scary. It's a scary injury to have. I mean, I think it's with all the cameras and technology we have now, we see it before any of the guys on the sidelines do. I do question the offensive lineman that picked him up because they were standing over him, watching him shaking. I know you can't really call out your own teammate, but there has to be. It's not just up to the officials as well. It's up to the guy himself. It's up to his teammates. It's easy for me to say not playing the sport anymore, but
it's the adrenaline though you kick in. Like, I think there's so many things going through your head, especially in this sport, that it's kind of you've probably gone over to.
Yeah, they don't want to lose it either,
but there is that bit. But like you said, all of us saw it, and the technology is there. We've seen it where everything's plugged in.
I agree with that.
That they should be able to get that image quickly enough because they'll go, what happened there? And then they'll see that.
Yeah, surely somebody upstairs must, because they can see the play straight away. So surely one of the coordinators, one of the staff there, would have been able to say.
Got one official.
But they have
the head coach, and the fact that he put his helmet back on.
But they have they do have the live feed of what we see there as a screen as well, so they can see what everyone else has. We can. How many times do you see when the referee makes a decision, and then all of a sudden you hear the boos from the crowd? We know because the replays have been there. So they do need to have that element, that little bit of safety, because this year I can't remember a year I've seen so many starting quarterbacks out for long periods of time. It's been a year of the quarterback taking a bit of a beating this year. So we've got to, you've got to protect that because they're franchise players that people want to obviously see as well.
Exactly.
So
doesn't help the brand if they're not there.
You point to a wider issue there is that the fact that the lack of contacts now in the current agreement, in the off season, does have a lot of an impact on any position and just the full raft of stars that we're missing from the game.
Sure. Talking of off-season, there aren't too many teams looking ahead to the off-season. There's 13 teams still in the hunt in the AFC for a playoff spot. Who have we got as the wild cards coming out of the AFC? We can see. Have a look at the graphic because we got the Titans and the Ravens are. In the wild card spots at the moment, and in the hunt, obviously the Chargers, Bills, Raiders, and even the Dolphins after their Monday night victory, hooray, over the New England Patriots.
That's why I go back to momentum. and the Ravens have picked up a little bit. The Titans are so up and down that you just don't know what you're going to get with them. But I do fancy the Chargers. I think what I've seen in the latest weeks, again, that experience of Phillip Rivers there obviously coming through. I think they might pip it.
They're like a scary team at the moment.
The thing is that the schedule isn't particularly tough. I mean, they've got the Chiefs, the Jets and the Raiders still to play. The Bills have got the Dolphins twice and the Patriots all in games. The Dolphins hold a lot of tiebreakers there. They've got to play the Bills twice and the Chiefs on Christmas Eve. We're looking forward to that one. The last two are anyway. We'll have a little side wager on that one. If they win out, they hold tiebreakers over the Titans, the Bills, and also the Chargers. So don't discount the Dolphins. I'm discounting them, but I'm saying generally they're actually not in bad shape.
It's all in front of them, isn't it? I don't really believe in the Titans, to be honest with you. We're going to get onto those in a minute.
Look at the games they've still got to face.
Yeah.
They've got to play the 49ers, the Rams, and Jacksonville. Now, the Rams and Jacksonville, for me, they're going to be the underdogs in that.
Yeah, there's something I thought about in the week. I'm not sure I can see the Titans winning another game. It wouldn't surprise me if they go 0-3 now.
Really?
We're going to talk about that in a minute. But for me, I think the Chargers just have a lot more momentum and a lot more offensive weapons healthy than the Chiefs do. Obviously, the division is going to come down to the game on Saturday night. But I think the Chargers will win the AFC West. But I think the Chiefs will also finish 2-1 probably in the next 3 games and make the wild card position. And I still believe in the Ravens.
I think the Ravens are a lock for me. They're the actual
they know, but they've had that experience of knowing when to get things done. No, I think it's just that one spot that is available, and that's why I say only the Chargers. Because I think the Ravens will secure that spot. I mean, being a Cardinals fan, I almost fell asleep watching that game against the Titans. It was just no excitement, and it's just like I wasn't expecting us to win because I was looking at the Titans are up there. They've got something to play for here. Realistically, no. For me, watching that, it was just you don't deserve to be in that spot either. It's
just the Titans. Considering, every time I hear that they're 8-5, I always think, wow, really? They give you an impression of an 8-8 team, and the head coach Mike Mularkey. I mean, if there's such a thing as vanilla, it's him, isn't it? It's nothing coming from the sidelines. They're just a featureless team, and they're wasting the talent in Marcus Mariota getting into play in a so-called old-fashioned ground and pound offense. I just think I wouldn't be surprised they lose every game. Now.
Stop putting them on live on TV as well, please. No one needs to see that. Let's just scrap the Titans.
It's not offensive to Titans fans. You're 8-5 for a reason, but I don't see it.
Sure. Okay. So who you think it's going to be? The Chiefs
and the Ravens.
And the Ravens. You're going with San Diego.
Yeah. And obviously the Ravens. It's not San Diego anymore as well.
No, it's true. No. I keep saying San Diego.
Yeah,
terrible,
you love San Diego. There's something about that city you love.
I do love San Diego. It's a beautiful city, and they really should have a franchise.
It's because of all the fans that they get in LA, isn't it?
It must be that. Yeah. Can't even fill out 23,000 stadiums.
It's amazing considering that the Chargers win all these games, considering every game's on the road, even when they're at home. I mean, against the Washington Redskins, the whole stadium was maroon.
Yeah.
Anyway, on the same day that the football gods taketh away Carson Wentz, they give us back Aaron Rodgers.
Yes, the excitement is back.
The question, obviously, is from my point of view, is is he healthy? I mean, he's had 13 screws and 2 plates fitted in that collarbone. He was decimated and thrown out of the game because of that injury on October the 15th. He's fit, apparently healthy. Comes back this weekend. Would you put him in when you've got the likes of the Jaguars and the Vikings still to play?
I think you've got to take that gamble with him. You've got that sort of. It's like having a Lamborghini in a garage with like a quarter bit of petrol, and you've got to go 200 miles. You're going to take it. You're going to take that gamble because you've got it.
I wish.
With a broken bumper.
Yeah. But I mean, it is a big gamble because if he does get hit and it does more further damage, it's damage that you may not come back from to the levels he should be. Whereas if you leave him out and you let him recover fully, then obviously you're gonna have the proper Aaron Rodgers. But it is a big gamble. But how big's the organisation?
Would you say? I mean, I don't know. It's the organisation of saying yes, you're okay. I think this is purely on Aaron Rodgers' shoulders saying yes, I can. I'm chasing my legacy and I'm coming back.
But I think it's one thing on paper. I'd say definitely not. You're 7-6. You're the 9th seed.
I'd shut them down.
Just think about next year. And But I think you've got an ultimate competitor there, haven't you? The way he plays the game is almost reckless for the sake of the team. And I think it's hard to keep a guy like that down.
Yeah.
My worry is, the first time he gets sacked, he gets knocked back onto his back or neck. As you said, Sam, what's going to happen?
Well, everyone's going to take a deep breath and just like, is he going to get up? And the other thing as well, from being in sports as well, nothing like that where I've physically got to protect someone. I'm a defender, so all it is protecting someone from shooting the ball at the keeper, whose job is to stop the ball. But you're there as a lineman, trying to make sure not.
Enormous pressure, isn't it?
It is a lot of pressure, and it's like you've already got pressure, but you're adding so much more to them, and I don't think it's a wise move from that perspective.
Especially against two top defences that they've got to face. And they've also got to face the Lions as well, so that should be a gimme. But
nail on the head is if he's telling you he wants to play, no one is going to stop him. No. I don't think.
I think it's going to be more valuable for Green Bay to have him as a mentoring influence on the sidelines, as he was at the weekend with Brett Huntley. I just think you need to empower Huntley.
He hasn't done a bad job.
No, he's won 3 games from losing scenarios in his time, and he's getting better with each week.
Yeah.
And I think it's past his skill set.
What's their schedule? What is their schedule?
They've got to play the Panthers, the Vikings, and then the Lions.
Oh, 3 teams you don't really want to be playing.
And those defensive lines.
They're all in the hunt.
Yeah.
Carolina Panthers. I mean, you've got Koala Short and Star Lotulelli. Both of them are getting a lot of pressure and making their way into the backfield, right into his lap.
2 divisional games as well.
Exactly.
Yeah, I wouldn't want that
against hated rivals.
Yeah. I just think
target on his back. I think
ride the hot hand with Huntley. I just think you've got to empower a guy like that, and so you know what you've got for the future as well.
I just don't trust. If that Green Bay defense was any good, which I don't think it is, I just don't trust them. It doesn't matter how good Aaron Rodgers is if he comes back or whatever. I still don't trust the Green Bay defense. Shut him down, basically. Shut him down for the season. You take an organisational decision as opposed to what the player wants.
Also, big news this week about the Verizon deal.
Massive news.
How's it going to impact the?
I'm glad you asked about that. I mean, it's what is it? 200. It's 200 million or 500 million a year and 2.5 billion over the course of this deal for Verizon. Anyone that says the NFL brand is fading is just clueless. Because
are we going to go down that route of saying who says that a lot of the time?
Not me. I never say it's fading. Not at all. It's growing. I mean, a big deal like that, you look at it and you say, there's no other company in this environment, especially a sports franchise, a sports environment, is going to get anything like that sort of deal. I mean, whatever they're paying Roger Goodell, he's got this deal over the line. It's just not enough. They're not paying him enough, in my book. All this talk about concussions and player safety and falling ratings and whatever else, what the NFL is really concentrating on and what they should be concentrating on is getting a young audience in, and the way you do that is through mobile technology, and that's exactly what they're doing with this Verizon deal. So it's massive for them, and they've also got the TV deal to think about in a couple of years, of 2020, 2021. Now, are we saying that Fox and whoever else has got the rights is going to walk away from a TV deal or pay less because Verizon have got it? I don't think they will. So I think it's a win-win situation.
It's going to raise the bar again, isn't it?
I think it is. I think they've done a major deal here, and it's fantastic for the game moving forward.
I think the great thing, like you said there, about trying to get the youth in, though, is now so many people will have access to it. Is any sport that wants to grow, you need to get participation actually there from sort of grassroots level.
Yeah, that's right.
And with Verizon, it's not, I remember I used to play the games and you say Verizon rule the air. They really do, because you don't think you actually see where Verizon actually sits across the globe. So now they have access where it's not just America, it's not just the UK and Mexico. Europe and the rest of the world will now have access to this a little bit more freely. And you will actually start to see, like you say, mobile device, you'll be able to actually pick this up. I mean, Game Pass probably hasn't had the proper marketing available that people actually see, that you still got access to it. Now, with this, obviously it will grow, and it will only be sort of a good thing for some of these players who are looking to get the right contracts, and the guys, they're talking about, obviously, the gents, obviously, when they're injured, not getting some of this money. I think you might see contracts suddenly change, where after some of these big injuries, they still get paid, which will keep everyone happy.
Great. Good chat, lads, as always. Fantastic. Sam Morgan from The Verge magazine. Matt Phillips from UK Draft Guide. Just quickly, ukdraftguide.com. Just talk us through it. What's it all about?
Yeah, well, we're a scouting business that started up in 2012. We scout college football collegiate athletes. coming into the NFL. And also try to promote the game, college football, in this country, make it more accessible to fans across Europe.
Fantastic.
It's quite a difficult sport to get into, and we basically we publish. We've now published 5 draft guides to fans across Europe, and every penny goes to charity.
Fantastic.
Right, might have to take that up for the fantasy next year then.
Absolutely. I think we've been going down the wrong path.
Yes.
We now know where to go. Anyway, Sam Morgan, Verge Magazine, Matt Phillips,
Thank you.
UKDraftDive.com. Fantastic chat as always. Just one late piece of breaking news here. After Jason Peters' socks were stolen, the Kansas City security announced that last night that they wished to interview a man wearing frilly knickers and high heels. Andy Reid, though, says that they have to wear their usual uniforms. We're the SportsHeads. We'll see you soon. Goodbye.
RedZoneSports.bet, the British home of American sports.